We know racism is still such a horrible stain on the game, and for British South Asian players, it's no different.
The racism is still happening, so clearly something more needs to be done. It's not enough what's happening, and the punishment to the people who are being racist is definitely not enough. I had an incident after the game against Man City where a 14 or 15-year-old boy racially abused me, and he just got a light slap on the wrist. And then other cases, it's more of a punishment because of their age and stuff like that. But I just think that the punishment has to be much bigger because it's still happening, so there clearly still is a problem.
Playing at Mansfield, I think I scored against Chesterfield, a local rival, and I had a tweet aimed at me, which wasn't very nice, and it can be very off-putting. I was very angry at the time, obviously. It was obviously a young lad that hadn't been educated, really. I found out who it was and why it happened, kind of thing, but it still wasn't a very nice experience.
In 2023, Jack Simpson admitted directing a racial slur at his then Cardiff City teammate Rohan Luthra on a pre-season tour of Portugal. He was handed a 6-game ban and an £8,000 fine by the FA. Simpson's Cardiff contract was due to run until the summer of 2024, but it was cancelled by mutual agreement on August the 31st. Rohan's father, Dr. Sunny Luthra, told us how the incident affected the family.
I didn't actually find out about the incident until somebody from the PFA told me about it, because Rohan didn't want to tell me because he knew I'd be upset. But to answer your question, I felt like we needed to be there for him. So that's it. It wasn't about me. It was really about him. Brought back memories of my childhood and my growing up. It also brought back memories of the fact that no matter how much you integrate, you are still different. We've experienced lots of racism. We've experienced lots of integration. And now for my son, who's a whole generation below, to now be called the P word, it's like, hold on, surely we should have stamped that out by now. I think he's going to get more and more of this. It's not just because he's a South Asian. I just think nowadays people, especially when social media is so prevalent, anything that makes you different, you're going to get called. I think the most important thing is to stop it happening within the game. You can't control what happens on the terraces or what happens on social media.
How do you prepare a child for that as he's growing up and he's getting into bigger clubs?
You have to always look on the positive side. And I think he needs to, and he is, focus on his game and be known as a great footballer. Not as a South Asian footballer, a great footballer.
Simpson has since signed for Leyton Orient. We asked the club why they signed the defender.
Jack recognised his error, was very, very sorry about it, and I think truthfully sorry about it. He wasn't just doing a tick-boxing exercise so he could get a new playing contract. This was someone who recognised he'd made a huge error, put a call in to the guys at Punjabi O's. I wanted them to know what we were considering doing because it was key to me to know how they would feel. This was a player that they were going to have to cheer on the pitch. Did they feel comfortable about cheering him on, given his background and the error that he'd made? And credit to the Punjabi O's, they were very honest in their opinions. They were very keen to meet Jack, and they have met Jack now on a couple of occasions and continue to talk to him. And I took on board their feelings, their comments, their opinions. And I think, so far from what we've seen of Jack, we've made the right decision.
There have been a number of incidents that have happened within football, incidents of racism. How do you support players in those situations?
I think first of all, being someone there for the player to offload, maybe share some experience of other players who may have been through similar situations, let the player know that they're actually not alone. Because sometimes it can scar you a bit later on when you're sat by yourself in a room, and whether it's a player on player or if the fans abused you, it hits you at different times. And I've seen that with players, so we'll regularly check in with players, maybe get them involved with some of the different programs that we're involved in, but also making aware their families aware as well of the PFA support.
Sadly, players have had similar experiences in the women's game too.
In that kind of pool of players that were supposed to go higher, growing up, I was always making that next step into the elite setup. I felt if you weren't in a certain clique when we was at those certain, camps and pathways, there was no hope for you, there was no chance for you. You had to be in a clique to get there. whether that's to do with, skin colour, or whether that's to do with character or personality or whatever it is, I feel like everybody should be looked at equally instead of just those few in a clique.
No experiences still happen in the game. For example, I was at a tournament down in Slough, a South Asian tournament. I was a special guest. I was in the toilets talking to a young girl, just asking her if she plays football outside of here, and her first response to me was, no, my teammates racially abused me. For me to have that conversation with a 13-year-old girl who looks just like me, it's not great, and it still shows how far away we are from where we need to be.
The picture is the same at grassroots level. Last season, Kick It Out received a record 496 reports of racism, an increase of 51%. Last October, Lagshan Sivakumar was playing for Sheringham FC when he posted a screenshot of a group chat showing teammates using racist language and discussing physical abuse towards him because he chose to also play for Heatherset Athletic, also known as Norwich Sweders. Sheringham FC banned 2 individuals following the incident, and Sivakumar thanked them for their support.
They was teammates, and they was people that I did not look up to, but like respect as players, and sort of gaining the edge of being friends and stuff like that. As soon as I seen it, I was just raging. I started playing when I was about 5, 6, and the race has always been an issue. Like, I've never looked at it and thought, yeah, this is serious, I need to look out for it and stuff like that. I've never been like that. But as you grow up and as you start to understand the meanings of these words and like the way people do actually look up to you, and the fact that you've got a disadvantage because of your race or because of your colour, because of your religion, that started to eat me up a little bit as I got older, because I started to understand it. I just want to enjoy the football I'm playing and the level I'm playing at. It doesn't matter if I'm playing at any other step, 4s, 3s, 2s, or even professional football, but I want to be able to enjoy it. I want my race to be comfortable in the talks of being professional and all the other busts like step 4s and step 3s and step 2s.
Racism towards British South Asian footballers isn't a new thing. Previous generations of players were forced to create their own teams and leagues to protect themselves from abuse, and some of those sides still exist today.
Sporting Council was formed in 1991 with a group of friends playing on a park pitch. The first generation, for instance, when they came over to the likes from Bangladesh, from India, from Pakistan, and came to this country, they had to create themselves a safe space. And for us now, if you look at society, you understand there's a mould of, we've created our own areas. The organisation itself, I hope to think that we represent for all. So when the FA talk about for all, we're just got to make sure that we have a real purpose and meaning behind it all. Are we creating opportunities for everybody? Whatever ethnicity, race, gender, creed.
Why do separatist leagues exist?
We want to be in a position whereby you'll see behind us, we've created recreational offer so kids off the street can play football. Whether they've got something going on in their personal lives, they feel at home here. And that's what we've always tried to create. When you walk through those doors at the football club, that you want to feel that actually, all that ease. We've had to smash these doors down to get to where we need to get to. And where we've got to is unbelievable. I genuinely believe that we're punching above our weight.
British South Asian communities have been kind of blamed for playing in separatist environments, but we've got to look at the recruitment system and the relationships that haven't historically been built with these kind of communities. So a lot of players have been overlooked in those spaces. But beyond that, we need to look at hostility that exists in grassroots and even semi-professional spaces. And I've heard loads of stories over the years from players who said, I can count on one hand out of 46 games the times where I haven't been racially abused. That can be a hostile space, and then for those players experiencing that, they opt out, they play five-a-side, or they play in these unaffiliated areas where scouts are less likely to look.